So right now, I'm almost doubling my real estate portfolio by buying a 13 unit building for $875,000. Let's run the numbers, and I'm going to go in depth about how I found this property and the numbers on it. So as you can see here, the building I'm buying is a 13 unit apartment building for $875,000. I found it off market. My mentor had a friend that owns about, I think he owns 80 apartments, and he was wanting to sell these to buy some more. So luckily, I met him and was able to get to buy these off of him. And the bank that we're going to is making me put 20% down, but I'm only going to put down 15%, and he's going to owner finance 5%, because now that I'm friends with my mentor, now this guy is also a friend of mine that I talk to now weekly, and he said that he wanted me to buy the deal, and he was willing to help me a little bit, so we got him to carry 5% on the owner finance on this. Now, the way you do this is through building relationships, building a network, and if you keep being nice to people, talking to them, treating them with respect, and building a friendly relationship with these people, you don't really look at it as business, but you do when you're buying something from them. But my best friend right now owns about $60 million worth of apartments that I talk to every single week. And he's one of my best friends. He's my mentor, and he's helped me a lot throughout my journey in real estate investing, and just really, he really knows a lot about everything. He's older than I am by a pretty good amount. I think he's in his 60s, but he's a super nice guy. He's one of my best friends now, and building relationships like that will eventually help you to buy more real estate if you're talking to people that own real estate. So like I said, he's carrying 5%, 43,750. We're getting a 25-year loan at 6.25%. And here's the rent's $10,100. You can see all the expenses here. So the total expense is about $8,242 a month. And you get a monthly income to get your cash flow. You get a monthly cash flow of $1,858 every single month. Now that's not a lot. But this property that I'm buying, I'm going to be able to, one, raise the rents to about, I think we can give them about $11,500, just because I know the market. They're all within probably a 5-minute walk of all the other properties I own. This guy's charging for his 2 bedrooms like $800 to some of them's at $700. I'm getting $950. He's charging like some of them's $550 for a 1 bedroom or $600 for a 1 bedroom. I'm getting $850 on my 1 bedrooms. So the way we're going to change this is on the utility side, we're going to install rubs because there's only one water meter, so we're going to make them pay rubs. That will take the utilities basically to zero. I left $200 there because we do have to pay some lights. We could put that on rubs too, but it's not a very big bill. But all that will change, and as we scroll down here, you can see 6 months later, our new rents will be at about $11,500. Our new expenses will go from $8,242 to only $7,442. Now, we done that just by doing rubs, making the tenants pay rubs, and through renovating a few of the units and raising the rents. But that's not the best part about this deal. The cash flow is good. As you can see here, we're going to cash flow $4,058 monthly. And that's really, really good. It's really, really good. We put down $131,000. We would cash flow about almost $50,000 a year after we get the rents raised. That's a really, really, really good return. But the best part about this deal is that, as you can see here, whenever we go and we raise the rents, when you have a building that's 5+ units, they base the value off of the NOI. Now, NOI is net operating income. Now, how you find that is you take your current rents, say if we're at $11,500, and you subtract that by all of your expenses except for debt. So now you can see here, I just use 70%. That's what most of the banks use here where we live at now. So you do $11,500 which I should have multiplied that. It's times 12. And after you get that, you get take 70% of that, you get $96,600 a year in yearly income. Your NOI is yearly. So we get 96,600. So to find the new value of the building, so the way they value these 5+ units is that they do a cap rate. A cap rate is like if you paid cash for a building, that's the percentage you'd get. So if you bought a building for $1 million, if you wanted a 10% cap rate or 10% cash on cash return, that means that you would make cash flow about $100,000 a year, just 10% at a 10% cap rate. This is at an 8% cap rate, and as you can see, you do 96,600 divided by 0.08 for the cap rate, and that gives us a value of $1.207,500. Remember, we bought this for $875,000, and in 6 months we grew the value almost $350,000 to $1.2 million. So the best part about this deal is that after we do that, we could keep the $4,000 a month in cash flow, but I'm wanting to grow my portfolio. I want $4 million worth of real estate at the end of this year. So what we do then is we go to the bank. They say, yeah, it's worth $1.2 million. They send out an appraiser. He appraises it. They'll give us an 80% loan to value on a cash out refinance, which means they'll give us 80% of this $1.2 million. And that gives us $966,000 on the new loan. And the new loan balance then is $6,350. So we raised it about $2,000. Our new cash flow drops down to $2,250, which is still pretty good on this property. But the best part about it is that at closing, what they do is they issue us a new loan for $966,000, but that $966,000 first goes to pay off our old loan. So our old loan is $743,500 because of the owner finance. And what you do is you do $966,000 minus $743,500 equals $222,500. Remember, we put down $131,000. And in 6 months, we're going to get $222,500 back tax-free because it's dead. It's dead. We're just doing a cash-out refinance, and we can use that $222,000 to do whatever we want to do with it. I'm going to choose to use it to buy more property, but it's cash. You can use it to whatever. There's no limitations on what you can do with it. It's your money. You can do whatever you want with it. So as you can see here, we're going to have $222,500 cash plus $2,250 a month in passive income still, which is crazy. We're going to get about $70,000 more than we put down and still cash flow $2,250 every single month, which is why I am buying this deal. I knew it was a good deal. And in 6 months, I'll do, well, maybe 7 months, because it'll probably be a month before we get closed on this. But in six to 7 months, I'll come back and do kind of, I'll show you what ended up happening, what kind of a loan we ended up getting, how much the rents ended up being, and what we was able to pull out at closing, and how much we'll be cash flowing then. If you like videos like this, subscribe for more.